Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with orange creme anglaise. That's right, creme anglaise is what the French pastry chefs call English cream, and I don't think any of us blame them. And I promised I would show you this super simple custard sauce when it was featured in our Valentine's Day souffle video. So here it is, and as you'll see, it could not be simpler. So step one, we're going to put a cup of heavy cream into a heavy bottom saucepan. We're going to add some white sugar, 2 egg yolks, a little bit of vanilla, and a tablespoon of Grand Marnier. And by the way, we're only doing that because this is an orange creme anglaise. If you want vanilla creme anglaise, which is the classic, you would just use a whole split vanilla bean in this. All right, but we're doing orange. So we're going to give that a mix. We're going to turn our heat on to medium, maybe slightly under medium, not quite medium-low. What is that, medium-low? I don't know. You know what I'm saying, just a little less than medium. We're going to switch to a spatula, and we're simply going to stir and wait. And I know there's a ton of different techniques for doing this out there, and they're all, unfortunately, usually way more complicated than this. So I really like this sort of stripped-down method. There's no tempering the eggs. There's no pouring back and forth. We're just going to make it with the fewest moving parts possible, and it's going to be perfect. You'll see. So we're just going to keep stirring with the spatula, making sure the flat of the spatula is scraping the bottom at all times. Kind of a figure 8 is a good way to go. Maybe throw in a couple figure 4s. Up to you. I would not suggest a figure 5, though. I tried that once, pulled a muscle in my ring finger. So just stir in a slow figure 8. And what's going to happen is this mixture heats up. The egg yolks will thicken it, and then we'll be done. That's pretty much it. So we're not going to let this simmer. It's going to come up below the simmer. It's going to be about 180 degrees if you're into that whole temperature thing. But really all you need to do is look for the thickening. And you'll notice when you first start stirring, those little whirlpools and eddies kind of disappear quickly. But as it heats up and as it thickens slightly, those little eddies and whirlpools actually take longer to disappear. You'll actually be able to feel the viscosity get thicker as you stir. So right here, I could feel the thickness was just about what I wanted. And it's not really easy to see, but right there on the surface, you'll notice these little slightly darker streaks. That's another telltale sign you're done. So I'm going to turn off the heat at this point, and we're going to check it with a spoon. And what you need to have happen, it has to coat the back of a spoon and hold a finger mark. All right, so you can see the thickness there. And if I run my finger across the back of the spoon, all right, it holds that mark. That means it's done. Congratulations. So at that point, you're going to strain it immediately through a fine mesh strainer. All right, worst case scenario, if there were any tiny, tiny particles of egg that stuck to the bottom and cooked too much, they will get strained out. Of course, I could show you the inside of my strainer, but trust me, mine was perfect. And then we're just going to let it cool. This is a sauce served ice cold. It kind of has a little bit of a thickness to it now, but you'll see this will thicken significantly as it cools. So if you're thinking it's too thin, don't worry. Okay, so we're just going to let that cool. While we're waiting, we might as well flavor it up with a little more orange. I'm going to put in some freshly grated orange zest. There's nothing like it. And yes, we did add some of that orange cognac when we were on the stovetop. But right here, I do want to add a little small splash, which I think is sort of the secret ingredient. And that orange creme anglaise is done. And of course, once it's cold, this can be used on a million different things. This makes a great sauce for all kinds of pastries. It's particularly amazing next to some chocolate cake. And as you witnessed with your own eyes, perfect for a dessert souffle. So I really hope you give that a try. Head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.